Please, young man, could you help me up? My hip. I can't find my footing." The old woman's voice was barely a whisper. She lay tangled in a mess of spilled groceries and wet gray concrete. Mrs. Higgins had only taken a shortcut across the edge of the new driveway, but a loose stone had sent her tumbling down. Now her thin, trembling hands were sinking into the perfectly smoothed cement. She looked up, eyes filled with tears, reaching out a muddy hand toward the man standing above her. Marcus, the real estate agent, did not reach back. Instead, he took a sharp step backward, pulling his expensive Italian trousers away from her grasp as if she were a contagious disease. He looked at her hand, then at the ruined, smudged concrete, and finally at his watch. "Are you kidding me?" Marcus let out a sharp, cold breath of annoyance. He didn't ask if she was hurt. He didn't check for broken bones. He just pointed a manicured finger at the ground. "Do you have any idea how much this finish costs? This is a luxury listing, not a nursing home obstacle course. Look what you've done to the curb appeal." Mrs. Higgins tried to push herself up, but her arms were too weak. The wet cement was heavy and cold, clinging to her knitted cardigan. "I'm so sorry," she stammered, her chin wobbling with shame. "I just wanted to get my milk home before it spoiled." "I don't care about your milk," Marcus snapped, pulling a handkerchief from his pocket, not to wipe her hands, but to polish a tiny speck of dust from his own shoe. "I have a buyer arriving in 20 minutes, a millionaire buyer, and you've turned the entrance into a pigsty. Get up now and don't touch anything else." He watched her struggle. He watched a 70-year-old woman fight gravity and humiliation, and he didn't lift a finger. He simply turned his back to check his reflection in the window of the brand-new house. That was when the roar cut through the air. It started as a low rumble and grew into a thunderous growl. A massive black motorcycle turned the corner, its engine screaming. The rider was terrifying. Broad shoulders clad in a beat-up leather jacket covered in skull patches, dark jeans, and heavy combat boots. He looked like trouble. He looked like exactly the kind of person Marcus would call the police on. The bike screeched to a halt right in front of the driveway. The kickstand scraped the pavement. The rider didn't even take off his helmet before he was off the bike, marching toward them. Marcus stiffened, clutching his clipboard to his chest like a shield. "Hey, you can't park there," Marcus called out, his voice pitching higher. "This is private property. I'm showing this house to a VIP client." The rider ignored him completely. He walked straight past the agent and knelt directly in the wet concrete. He didn't care about his jeans. He didn't care about the mess. "Easy now, ma'am." The rider's voice was deep and muffled behind the helmet. He gently hooked his strong arms under Mrs. Higgins' shoulders. With effortless strength, he lifted her out of the muck and set her safely on the dry grass. Marcus sneered. "Great, now there are 2 sets of footprints. Do you know who I am? I'm the top agent in this city. I can have you arrested for vandalism." The rider stood up. He was a giant of a man. He slowly unbuckled his helmet and pulled it off. Underneath, he had a thick beard, tattoos climbing up his neck, and a scar across his eyebrow. He looked rough, dangerous. He looked at the trembling old woman, then reached into his jacket pocket. Marcus flinched, expecting a weapon. Instead, the biker pulled out a clean, white cloth and began to gently wipe the gray mud from Mrs. Higgins' hands. "Are you okay, ma'am?" the biker asked softly. "I'm fine, thank you. I made such a mess." "It's just dirt," the biker said. "Dirt washes off. Cruelty doesn't." Marcus laughed, a dry, nervous sound. "Oh, save the philosophy lesson for your gang, buddy. Look at you. You probably can't even afford the mailbox on a house like this. I need you both off the premises. The developer is coming to inspect this site any minute, and if he sees trash like you loitering, heads will roll." The biker paused. He stopped wiping Mrs. Higgins' hands and turned slowly to face Marcus. His eyes were dark and intense. "The developer is coming?" the biker asked calmly. "Yes, Mr. Henderson, a man of class and standards, unlike some people." Marcus adjusted his tie, trying to regain his authority. "So, unless you want a lawsuit, take your bike and your friend and get lost." The biker stared at Marcus for a long, silent moment. Then, a small, sad smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. He reached into his back pocket. Again, Marcus flinched, but the biker just pulled out a phone. He tapped the screen once and held it up. Marcus's own phone buzzed in his pocket. He looked down. The caller ID said, "Boss." Confused, Marcus answered, "Sir? I'm at the site. I'm handling a situation with some intruders." "You're not handling anything, Marcus." The voice didn't come from the phone. It came from the biker standing 3 feet away. Marcus dropped the phone. It clattered onto the driveway. The biker, Mr. Henderson, hung up the call. "I like to ride to my sites to check the quality," Mr. Henderson said, his voice dropping to a low rumble that was scarier than any shout. "I wanted to see if the concrete was setting right, but instead I saw how my representative treats the neighbors." "Mr. Henderson, sir, I didn't know the leather, the helmet." Marcus was pale. He was shaking. "I was trying to protect the asset for you." "People are the asset, Marcus. Houses are just wood and stone. I built this company on community. Mrs. Higgins here lived on this street before I was born. She is the community." Mr. Henderson turned back to the old woman. "Ma'am, I apologize for his behavior. As for your driveway..." He looked at the ruined wet cement, then back at Marcus. "Marcus, give me your jacket." "Sir?" "Your suit jacket. Give it to her. She's cold and her cardigan is wet." "But this is Armani. It cost $2,000. "And you just lost a commission worth $50,000, Mr. Henderson said, his eyes hard as flint. "Give her the jacket and then leave. You're done here. Don't come back to the office on Monday." With shaking hands, Marcus removed his jacket and handed it to Mrs. Higgins. She looked at him with pity, not anger. Mr. Henderson walked Mrs. Higgins to his motorcycle. "Let's get you home, ma'am, and don't worry about the driveway. I'll have my crew pave a path from your front door to the store tomorrow, free of charge." As they walked away, Marcus stood alone in the cold wind, staring at the footprints in the concrete, a permanent reminder of the day he judged the book by its cover and paid the price.